Good afternoon and welcome to our midday briefing. Before we get started, just a reminder that we will have a press conference at 1 o'clock here in our press room with Commissioner Šefčovič on EU-US trade, followed by an off-the-record technical briefing on the same topic. So, of course, we will not be taking questions on the same topic now at midday, since the Commissioner is coming here to the press room just after. With this, we can jump straight into your questions. Go ahead, Nuruddin.
I have a couple of questions to Anita. My first question is about the European Union and High Representative, particularly reaction to the Israeli plan to invade Gaza, where people are being deported. Second part of this question is that in the West Bank, 5,000 Palestinians received the instruction to leave their homes, so the Israelis are planning to execute their plan of the E1, the so-called E1, which is a big settlement separating definitely Jerusalem East from the West Bank, which could kill definitely the two-state solution. So what is the European Union reaction, any initiative or action that the European Union can do towards Israel to not to go ahead with its plans? My second question is political, but it's mainly humanitarian. It's about children. Everybody was touched, moved by the exchange in the White House about the plight of the Ukrainian children. Rightly, my observation that in Gaza, more than 20,000 children have been killed until now. Children are being killed either by starvation by the Israeli army, or under the bombs, or just they lost their loves, their beloved, etc., etc. Can the European Commission, mainly, can President von der Leyen, who in the past expressed rightly said good words, initiatives, political position regarding the Ukrainian children, can Madame von der Leyen do a bit of what she said towards the Ukrainian children regarding the case and the plight of the Palestinian children? Thank you.
Thanks, Nuruddin. Before giving the floor to Anita, who is connected from remote, I believe, let me perhaps answer to your second question. So, the President stands for the protection of children everywhere in the world. Let me be very, very clear about this. She has indeed raised the topic of the Ukrainian children abducted by Russia with President Trump the other day in the presence of the European leaders and President Zelensky. This is, of course, a very important cause for her, dear to her heart. At the same time, of course, she is extremely saddened by the situation children are facing in Gaza. The President has said that the situation, the humanitarian situation in Gaza is appalling. She has said this from time and time again. She has called relentlessly for a ceasefire in Gaza to protect the civilian population. Of course, first and foremost, this includes the children who have the right to protection even more than everybody else in the world. On the plans of the Israeli government to proceed with the military operation in Gaza, the President has also been vocal herself about this. I can refer you to a post from the beginning of the month where she has said the Israeli government's decision to further extend its military operation in Gaza must be reconsidered. At the same time, there must be a release of all hostages who have been held in inhumane conditions, and humanitarian aid must be given and unhindered access to Gaza to deliver what is urgently needed on the ground. A ceasefire is needed now. So I think this post, of course, refers to both questions you were mentioning. I will now give the floor to Anita, who's connected from remote, to answer the rest of the question.
Thank you, Ariana. Thank you, Nureddin. Indeed, you have pointed out to several complex matters, to all of which we have also reacted throughout from the very beginning. When it comes to the Netanyahu plans as such, we have a clear position that we have also reiterated in terms of the EU rejecting any attempts of territorial or demographic changes in the Gaza Strip as such. And when it comes to Hamas, also with a clear position that Hamas must have absolutely no role in the future governance and security in Gaza. And to this we have also statements on Gaza by foreign ministers and the EU High Representative. Now, when it comes to E1, which refers to the East 1 area in the West Bank and the settlements, we have been also very clear in this regard. We have also a statement by the High Representative where we clearly also state that the decision of the Israeli authorities to advance the UN settlement plan further undermines this two-state solution while being also a breach of international law. So this is why the EU is also urging Israel to desist from taking this decision forward. So this is what we have to say. Then throughout all our actions and all our measures that are being focused first and foremost on humanitarian aid. There is a lot that has been done. There is progress on the ground. Of course, more needs to be done, and my colleague Eva can further expand on the humanitarian side. But the second important point is obviously a ceasefire, so this horrific situation is stopped. And as a third important point, we're calling for the release of all hostages.
Thanks, and perhaps let me just complement with another post by President in which she has been extremely vocal on the need of protection and support to the civilian population in Gaza. Towards the end of July, she has said civilians cannot be targets, never. The images from Gaza are unbearable. The EU reiterates its call for the free, safe and swift flow of humanitarian aid and for the full respect of international humanitarian law. Civilians in Gaza have suffered too much for too long. It must stop now. Israel must deliver on its pledges, and of course this is our constant work with our partners and with the Israeli authorities to push them to allow more aid flows in the Gaza Strip, because they're still insufficient, and of course Eva can provide you with an update on that if needed. Nureddin, go ahead.
Follow up maybe to what Anita answered. Prime Minister of Denmark, who is holding the current presidency of the European Union, said a few days before that Benjamin Netanyahu himself is a problem today. He went too far. She said that on public, on Twitter, etc., etc. Everybody is following these days what the vehement statements by Benjamin Netanyahu against France, Australia, and any other country it may recognize Palestine. My question is, do you really believe that the policy of engagement that the European Union is conducted, let's say, mainly since June, July, and Anita said that there are some progress, etc., etc. Do you really believe that the policy of engagement with the Israeli government is really constructive and bringing results? Don't you think that unless a government like this one sees the high prices it has to pay for the occupation, for the colonial settlement, etc., it will not stop, because they showed that. Thank you.
Thanks, Anita. Of course, jump in. I think it's not for us to comment on governments. We work with the governments of countries with a clear focus in mind, which is the civilians in need everywhere in the world, and of course in Gaza. I think our efforts are on supporting these civilians. We continue on all possible engagements we have to push the authorities to grant this access. But of course, Anita, if you want to add anything, you're welcome to do so.
Thank you, Ariana. Absolutely correct to add that diplomacy is always the vehicle. Of course, it's not the only measure that we have, but it's absolutely paramount that we remain in constant touch in diplomatic outreach with the Israeli authorities. But that being said, of course, we have a whole set of toolbox of measures that we have also reiterated last week when we have handled this issue that we have also proposed to the member states, but also when it comes to sanctions against extremist violent settlers.
Other questions relating to the situation in Gaza? Not the case. Other questions on foreign affairs? No questions on foreign affairs. Mose, is it on foreign affairs? Go ahead.
Thank you, Arana. I just would like to ask Anita about the upcoming informal Foreign Affairs Council meeting, Gymnich, at the end of this month. Anita mentioned the possibility of sanctions against Israel, but can that be raised at all or decided by an informal Foreign Affairs Council meeting? Thank you.
Anita.
Thank you. As you know, Mos, the Gymnich, these are informal Foreign Affairs Council, so exchanges will take place to prepare this work, but formal decisions need to be further taken. But furthermore on this, the discussions in the Council are also confidential, and also the sanctions are adopted by the 27 member states, so it will not be for us to speculate on this.
Other questions on foreign affairs? Go ahead.
Thank you. It's Rosie Burchard for DW. Can we get your reaction, please, to the latest US sanctions against more ICC judges? Thank you very much.
Anita.
Thank you, Rosie. On this also, we have a long-standing position when it comes to the U.S. sanctions that the EU once again deeply regrets in terms of the decision to impose sanctions on 4 judges of the ICC. Again, I would like to reiterate that the ICC remains the cornerstone of international justice and the fight against impunity, and attacks or threats against the court and elected officials are not acceptable. So the ICC must be able to work independently and impartially.
Other questions for Anita on foreign affairs? Rosie, you have a follow-up. Apologies, I missed.
Thanks. Yeah, it's Rosie Burchard for DW again. Just a brief follow-up. The Belgian foreign minister has renewed calls for the activation of the blocking statute. The latest sanctions target another EU citizen. Is there any update from the Commission side on considering that call? Thank you.
Anita.
So thank you very much. As you know, under the blocking statute, the European Union provides the protection against and counteracts the effects of extraterritorial application of the law. But on this, I do not have further updates on this point.
Other questions for Anita on different matters? Not the case. Other questions for us today? Not the case either. So I think we're all very impatient for the 1 o'clock press conference. This brings us to the... Oh, Camille, you have your hand raised. Go ahead. I was surprised. I was like, oh, no more questions.
This is perhaps a question for Marcus or for you. I'm not exactly sure. It's on EU enlargement. There's been reports that President Zelensky asked Trump to ask Orban to lift his ban on EU accession talks. Was President von der Leyen there when all of that was mentioned, and what is the position of the EU on that? Thank you.
Thanks. I believe that indeed European leaders have discussed enlargement possibilities with President Trump and President Zelensky the other day on Monday in Washington, D.C. The European leaders have, of course, underlined the relevance of the accession process for Ukraine. This is of importance also in the context of security guarantees discussions that, as you know, are ongoing. Our view on enlargement is extremely clear. First and foremost, that it is for Ukraine, and for Ukraine only as a sovereign country to decide whether it wants to continue to pursue the path towards accession. And then, of course, it will be for the member states of the European Union to establish whether all the steps leading to the enlargement are met or not. Indeed, as you know, where we stand is that we have a proposal with the Council to open negotiations on Cluster 1, and in our view, it's important that member states allow this opening soon. We will continue to engage with them on this matter, but I can confirm that the topic of enlargement was raised the other day. This has triggered a number of questions. Go ahead.
Yes, just a quick follow-up on this. Can you confirm that this call from Washington towards Prime Minister Orban did actually take place on Monday? You have knowledge about this?
I'm afraid this is a question for President Trump and President Orban, not for me to confirm. Mose.
Yes, thanks again, Diana. As we have so much time left for next briefing, I would like to take the opportunity to ask for clarification about the rule of law matter, which I think have been raised before, and that's about the issue of freedom of religion and male circumcision in Europe. Is an issue which concerns both Jewish and the Muslim communities, especially here in Belgium. And we know that there was a letter sent to the Commission last month, I think, from a number of Jewish organizations in the EU on this. I think that the Commission is going to apply to that, but my question is, this is a national competency, both regards freedom of religion and health matters. Can we also expect the Commission to look into this issue and, as they've been asked by many, to issue some guidelines on best practice on this matter? Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mose. I think the team has had already contacts with you via email, but Eva, if you have anything to add to that?
Good afternoon. I can't say much, Mose, on this. I can confirm the receipt of the letter, and obviously we will reply to the letter in due time.
Thanks, Eva. Other questions for us today? Not the case. This time seems really like this. Therefore, thanks a lot for having attended, also to the interpreters, to the colleagues. As you know, our day is far from over. We will have, in some 25 minutes, Commissioner Šefčovič here with us to discuss EU-US trade relations. And after that, as I was mentioning at the beginning, we will have an off-the-record technical briefing on the same topic. So see you later, and otherwise our next midday will be next Tuesday. Goodbye. Thanks.